to that point. So you were talking about Ethereum. We were talking about Ethereum and how, we can get into the EHEX, PHEX thing a little bit, however you want to, but talk about like just the fact that we've all agreed on, and Johnny said this since the beginning, like really when Pulse Chain launched, right? Probably even before then, like when we were just having conversations like, well, HEX and EHEX have parity, all these ideas. And, maybe I shouldn't, the name that we shall not mention, but Johnny used to do the streams with old F Squared Furu Finance back in the day, before that relationship was severed a little bit.
Honestly, I was just trying to help the kid get views, just like I'm doing here. I was just trying to help the kid get some views and start his channel and get it running and stuff. And he's very green to crypto. He was basically streaming out of mom and dad's basement. It's not like he had a lot of income.
He had books in the background. I don't know. Are you sure it was mom and dad's basement? I saw books.
Yes. Mom and dad's basement. Anyway, yeah, and he's a young guy and he's got a lot to learn, and I was trying to help him out. What didn't help it was the 20 videos that followed talking shit after I went out of my way to help him. But we'll just chalk that off to this is why I hardly ever stream anymore. But anyway, the idea here was there should never been an EHEX PHEX debate, because first of all, when you're buying it, you don't know which hex you're getting. It says hex from Ethereum, right? It doesn't say EHEX. It's not called EHEX. The ticker isn't EHEX. The ticker isn't PHEX. The ticker is what? The ticker is hex. So from the very beginning, all I was doing was I was trying to run around and tell everybody we don't want to have this argument over EHEX and PHEX. We don't want to have this distinction. We don't want to have this argument. The best way to avoided the division, the confusion, the brand damage, all of that would have been to pair it from the very beginning at a 1-to-1 ratio. Now, when you say, well, that couldn't be done, well, just look at the wrapped Ethereum on Pulse and Pulse. Okay, it can be done. It's easily done. And that all comes down to the amount of coins that are in the pool. If you have both sides of the pool equal, like 10 billion to 10 billion, in order to change it from a 1-to-1 ratio to a 2-to-1 ratio, someone has to come in with another 10 billion on just the one side in order to shift it from a 1-to-1 to a 2-to-1 ratio. The other thing is with these ratios is you got to understand to hold a premium. If you want a 3-to-1 ratio, if you've got 10 billion here, you need 30 billion over here to sustain a 3-to-1 ratio. If you want to sustain a 10-to-1 ratio, if you've got 10 billion over here, you need 100 billion coins over here in order to sustain a 10-to-1 ratio. So this is why I said it's not sustainable. Though those higher ratios everybody wanted because they wanted to like pick the one winning horse game, they were not sustainable. And it would take Richard a lot more coins up to put into liquidity pools in order to maintain a premium of the balance. And if you look at any other coin on PulseX and on Pulse Chain, there's only one coin really that's at a premium. Everything else is a fraction of what its ERC20 counterpart is on Ethereum, right? Mm-hmm. So we know that's founder bias. We know that's artificially inflated, okay? And that's based on it's the hexagons prefer hex on Pulse Chain. But the fact is hex is hex. It's an immutable code. It's not going to change, okay? And one of them is in a very big city, and one of them is kind of on a private island. All right. If you want to maintain that value, the best way to do it and would be to set it to 1-to-1, which the OA has the coins and has the ability to do so at any time. And I said eventually he's going to come to the conclusion that that's optimal. And why did I say that was optimal? Well, there's multiple reasons for that being optimal. One of which it would be a universal conduit between chains. Mm-hmm. It would also provide, because on the other side, when you have those very large stable pools, that would allow somebody that wanted to add to the liquidity pools to earn hex on both sides. Having the pools large also decreases its ability for that to be more profitable than hex staking, because The pools being small, what they do is they create competition for the HEX staking narrative. And I knew that that would be detrimental because HEX needed to be the premier store of value over there on Pulse Chain. In actuality, a lot of Pulse Chain users, they don't care about HEX anyway.
Yeah,
that's the reality. They say, well, we're dumb because we thought that, you know, Pulse was made for HEX. It literally wouldn't have been made if it weren't for the SLOAD functions and HEX. Just he copied the other coins over, yes, but that was because he was hopeful that, once again, Richard's got this hopeful thing. I thought Bitcoin people would like me if I gave them free coins. Did they like him? No. I thought Ethereum people would like me if I gave them free coins. Did they like him? No. So you see, he's constantly trying to give stuff out and get people to like him, and it just keeps blowing up, right? You know, the liquidity, you know, and then he's got his own community turning against him and saying, why isn't this working, Richard? Why isn't this working? I don't know. He keeps giving stuff out, but people keep spitting in his face. I don't know, like his own community. No wonder he doesn't want to come out, you know? But I'm trying to think of the other attributes. So you needed a stable pool. You needed a conduit between chain. And the other big factor was the EHEX PHEX debate. Nothing has been more harmful than which one. Nothing has been more harmful than which one. Because if you give a person two choices and you try to explain the difference, like, screw it, I'll just buy something else. Okay. So the which one has been a terrible thing. And I tried to squish it before it ever happened, and I failed miserably because everybody wanted to argue over which one was better. They wanted to throw out wild ratios there, not understanding how many coins it actually takes in the liquidity to do it. Everybody was thinking their wild ideas. Everyone's saying, oh, well, Richard doesn't like that one anymore. And, you know, everybody over here. And it's like, and that one sucks. So we're doing our own personal brand damage because only thing people are hearing that HEX sucks now. Hexicans don't like HEX anymore. Oh, and while the normal people are going, well, gee, if it can't survive on the second largest blockchain, you know, what odds does it have living over here on this deserted island when there's just a bunch of Hexicans over there? I don't want to go over there. What are the odds? You know, if it can't survive, if a restaurant cannot survive in a metropolis, what makes you think that same branch is going to survive on a private island by itself? And we've already seen how the Hexicans behave. They stop buying. We're not getting new people to the island. They stop buying. So you're going to start losing that premium now because people are not supporting it anymore. And not to mention, we've got 1/3 the liquidity. So it takes 1/3 less new people coming in with the same amount of money to actually move the price. And they've got no bias. They've got no bias. They're going to buy it because of brand recognition and the price going up. They've got no bias. They've got, dude, it's the thing to buy. I saw it on a tablet. You know, I bought, well, I looked it up on Uniswap. There it was. I bought some. There, you don't get a chance to go around and go, no, you don't buy that one. You buy this one. Thank God we're going beyond our little ecosphere because we have caused this damage. We have caused this damage. We've caused this damage because we wanted to make it a debate. We wanted the one coin. What's the one coin I put all my money in and number go up, please? That's what I want to know. Just I don't want to do it with two coins. I mean, I don't really want to invest. I'm not planning on sticking around for very long. So if you could just please tell me the one coin to put all my money in, and I'm just going to pick just that one side, and I'm going to be all in on that one side. I'm going to say everything else sucks. Not realizing you're totally busting your own bag, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I still think a lot of the reason for the copying of all the coins, it was a marketing ploy, and it didn't work. It didn't work. People didn't care about the world's largest airdrop. They didn't care that they had free coins over there.
Well, they'll find them eventually. They're going to find them eventually.
But another thing that I think he might have been thinking about, you know, Richard thinks far ahead. And the one benefit could be that if these things do become, you know, valuable at some point, you're going to have a lot of people asking the exchanges to, hey, list my coins. I want my coins because I held them at this point and now they're worth so-and-so. which
Yeah,
I don't
but
know
you
if you
see,
remember
we're
when.
actually going a completely parallel direction now. You know, we're heading to the point where it's Blockbuster and Netflix. You know, we're talking about Coast and being a direct on ramp and Internet Money Wallet and going directly into Pulse. So you got two aspects. You've got the old school, right?
Right.
You got the old school that would have to use the bridge and get across networks. Liberty Swaps making that easier to get across from all the different networks. The multi-chain interoperability, right? And then you've got Coast, which is a direct ramp. So what's going to happen is, you know, from like the advertisement marketing is they may never even understand that there ever was a hex on Ethereum. But for the people that are in that ecosystem, that's what they're gonna buy because that's what they're familiar with.
Right.
And I know you guys watched my thing with Corey. It's like it's not that easy to just make people move. You know, they're comfortable. And
Well,
you can't say, okay, well, you guys out there, you provide the liquidity pool, and then maybe the ratios wouldn't be so off. Well, that's great if we weren't staked. Because I promise you, as long as it's at a premium, I'm happy to trade one for more.
sure.
But I'm not in a position to trade one for more. I mean, if y'all want to give me 10x again, I can probably emergency unstake something real quick and you know, get the 10-1. I would take that.
Well, and speaking of being staked, I don't know that the OA even has enough to set
Oh
high.
yeah, yeah.
Still?
They still got some. Yeah, they could. But here's the thing. So if the OA continues with the handoff approach like he has been, then eventually, because of the 3-to-1 availability, right? And because it is closer to the door, it is already on the established network. And hexagons are just not buying. They're not, you guys can say all you want. I'm buying. I don't see the support on the Pulse chain side. I don't see that going up. I do see you guys buying lots of other stuff. I can see you on chain dumping it for this coin and that coin, and this coin because you're bored. So I'm not really seeing the support over there on that chain.
Yeah.
So that makes me worry. That makes me worry that since you're already impatient, you're already losing interest, that you're going to dump your bags on that side. And I already know you're already out of the Ethereum side because I hear about it all the time, how you don't like it. So I'm more than happy to hold over there.
I still make a brand new stake every month on both chains. So
you are a unique man, Mr. Ewok.
Well, there's a few of us out there. Somebody asked earlier when I got into crypto. It was early. It was like April of 2017. Johnny, when were you first in?
I was so in is an interesting question, right?
When did you buy your first crypto? I guess
2016.
Okay.
Yeah. So I knew about Bitcoin and the whole Mt. Gox thing, and I thought it was stupid because I was into Magic cards. So I was like way back then.
Same here.
And I had a friend that wanted to do mining before it was even when the white paper was released, before it was even allowed to be mined. So I mean, I knew like of it, and I was like, this is the dumbest thing I ever heard. I sounded just like Eric Wall. So you know, and here's the thing, you know, looking back at it now and looking at the concept, that was really awesome. And that's what I've been looking for, was something like Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's become so compromised. You know, we're talking about this. You've got to have special equipment. You got to join a mining pool. You get, you're competing for block rewards in such a way that you may or may not get paid, right? So Hex is a smart contract that pays you in Hex, and anybody can participate. It doesn't keep you out. You don't have to have special equipment. It provides passive income. You lock up your coins, you get more coins. It's not that damn difficult to understand, but you know, how do you explain to somebody, okay, first you got to buy a $2,000 miner, and by the way, you need at least 250 of them. And then you're going to have to pay power bills until you eventually start producing coins.
Yep.
Oh, and by the way, you're going to need to hook those up to like another 500 miners so that you've got better ability to compete for that block that you may or may not get. I mean, come on. Hex HEX is a better model. It's just a
Sure.
different way of distribution. And it's dynamic deferred inflationary, which means if you don't do what you say you're going to do, then it gets pushed out. But I don't think HEX is good for the crypto because most of the people in crypto, they want a loophole. They don't want to do what they say they're going to do. They want a loophole, right? So it's not necessarily the right market. And that's why I'm happy that the advertisement's going out to average people and not necessarily just crypto people, because we need to find people that are collectors, that are looking for savings accounts, that aren't obsessive gamblers, that aren't just, they're counting their dollars and not their units. They're not actually trying to build a position. They're just a bunch of tourists.